Today I'm heading to the far north of Norway to kick off an epic trip over 4 days. I want to give you a behind-the-scenes look at the travel that goes into shooting these Flight Radar 24 videos, plus I'm doing a few extra adventures of my own up here. That'll include the pleasant city of Bodø, ending up in remote Kirkenes where I head to the Russian border just to take a look, then it's back west to Narvik where I'll catch a bus, and then because there was a train derailment, another bus over to Sweden. There I'm staying in Riksgränsen at the Jukkasjärvi mountain villa, an amazing little hotel and base for ski touring and heli-skiing, so naturally I have to try out some ski touring and barely survive it. And that's not all, because then I go stay at the Ice Hotel and test out a brand new pre-production electric snowmobile before heading home. So join me for this Scandinavian Arctic adventure coming right up. Starting off this trip, I'm catching the train to Stockholm so as to go see my good friend Henrik for a haircut before heading up to Arlanda to catch my flights to Oslo and then Bodø, where I'll be just above the Arctic Circle and kicking off this far north adventure properly. This is on a Monday and I'm going to be covering a lot of ground before I end up back down here midday on Saturday. So let's go do it. I had a craving for a burger and a beer, so I stopped by Widerøe, part of the new shopping and restaurant area at Terminal 5 before the lounge. This flight to Oslo is so short that you can hardly get anything done because it's only about 40 minutes. So by the time you can take out your laptop and actually get into an edit, it's almost not worth bothering, but I'm gonna try and see what I can get done. Practice the art of getting little bits done here and there, which I have traditionally not been so good at. I didn't manage to work on this flight because it's just too short. I had a beer instead. And then I grabbed another bite at the crowded lounge in Oslo. I'm flying on one of the SAS Plus biofuel tickets today, which are kind of nice, both because you pay a little extra to contribute to the purchase of biofuel, which reduces your overall emissions, but also because they give you a nice chunk of extra miles for it, including elite qualifying miles. It's also fully flexible and refundable, and I can get my favorite row 1 window seat on the A320s, so for me, I find it very much worth the extra.
Place your baggage sheet on the seat in front of you or in the compartment. Items heavier than 1 kilo, for example a laptop, must be stowed in your cabin baggage.
A fog rolls in over Oslo and we head over to the de-icing station for lots of nice atmosphere before getting going up to the Arctic. I love coming up to the far north. It's always an exciting feeling, even if I'm kind of over winter by this point, and it's strange that I'm willingly signing up for way more of it by coming up here. I can't quite explain it.
When disembarking, be aware of the difference in level between the aircraft.
Cabin crew, disarm doors and cross-check.
Bodø Airport is very close to the city, and there's a convenient bus that takes just 10 minutes or so to the center of town. And here's some of that Arctic weather. Nice. Yeah, this weather is very special. The Northland. We've certainly arrived in the Northland. I stayed at the Quality Hotel Ramsalt, which was so nice, and I even got this handwritten card when I got there. I love this type of hotel you find in the Nordics. It's not super expensive, it doesn't come with many extra frills, but they get the basics right. Nice materials, nice layout, comfortable beds, and good hot showers. The view from this one, which you can see here much better in the morning, is a nice bonus. Highly recommended. Because it's the end of February, it's still pretty wintry, but we have most of the light back. So this is a nice time to come up to the Arctic if you're after winter vibes, but don't want to be in the dark literally the entire time. Now watch me try to tell you about the Arctic Circle and really fail to deliver that information efficiently. So much fun waking up to this view out the window, the Arctic out there, unmistakably Arctic. By the way, fun fact, did you know that anything above the Arctic Circle is a place where you have that extreme experience, at least for one day a year, where the sun doesn't set and vice versa, the sun doesn't come up above the horizon. So that's what defines the Arctic Circle, and it's a moving line. It moves just a little bit. We don't really see it move on the map so much, but it is not stable perfectly. We're just above that line here, and I wonder how many days of full darkness in the winter and full light in the summer they have. I have to look into that. It's always interesting. That's what you get for doing pieces to camera straight away after waking up. You get the idea though, right? I just love that you can find a place as nice as this for lunch up in the Arctic. Something about being in such a stark and remote place, and yet having this comfort and design where you could be fooled into thinking you're in Paris or New York. That contrast is really cool, and you mostly find it in the Nordic Arctic regions, including Greenland, Norway, Sweden, that kind of thing. Time to get some sleep, and tomorrow head to Kirkenes in the Far East, right near Russia. Fast forward through 7 flights, and here we are, Kirkenes. All right, now I have just a few hours up here in Kirkenes, right on the Russian border. I'll do this in the car, it's too windy. All right, very cool flights today. 7 flights in total, especially those last 6 on that one plane heading out here to Kirkenes to the Far East. We could see Russia coming in. Such a strange feeling. Obviously, there's no obvious demarcation there. We know that just out there, that's Russia, but that's it. And what a different world that represents. So, strange feeling. But now, I have rented this car, this Volkswagen, fitting that it's electric in the land of electric cars. I've rented this car in order to make the drive over to the border and the famous church that's right along, I think, a river there near the coast. Apparently it takes about an hour, so let's see. Let's see if we can do that, how it's gonna be. I guess you're not supposed to take many photos and videos out there, which is a shame, but I'll see what I can get away with. And I'm losing daylight here, so I should probably go, but I'm also starving and thirsty, and there's no shops in this airport. So this is the reality of travel like I do it. It all looks pretty nice on Instagram, but sometimes you're just hungry and tired. And nevertheless, it's time to get going and make this little mini adventure in Kirkenes happen. All right, change of plans. It took me a while to figure it out. Google Maps wasn't offering up the information, but it turns out the road to that famous church that's out there on the coast right at the Norwegian border is closed. It's closed for the winter, if I understood it correctly what it said in the navigation of this car. Thank God there was that. And then I looked it up online. So I've stopped at a gas station, which could be anywhere in Scandinavia. But the landscape is very unusual, very special, very low trees. A little bit sad, actually, very wintry and forlorn. But there is a stretch of the border with Russia which is closer, and that also saves me having to drive extra and back in the dark in this kind of spooky Arctic close to Russia place, which would have been interesting. It would have been an adventure, but this is the less adventurous version. I'm gonna grab a snack here at the Circle K, and then I'm gonna see if I can just take a look at the border without being yelled at by any military. I'm just curious to see what the feeling is there. Do you notice it? Are there cameras everywhere? Are there military people everywhere or not? So I'll drive over there. I think it's about 15 minutes out east, and then back into Kirkenes, check into the hotel, get some real food. Road signs for Murmansk. This just feels so exotic to me. Anybody else have this same attraction to land borders that I do? I don't know. I can't get enough of this sort of thing. That's it, Russia right there, across the pond. The border station is manned and very much monitored, so I don't feel like I can take too many more shots here. It really feels like you're being watched over there. I don't have proof that it's true, but it just feels like everything you do is being watched, and even taking photos of Russia across the river felt sketchy. Somehow just doing anything over there, being so close to the border, just sitting there. Wow, I wonder who's crossing there. This is what I don't know. I would like to find out. I guess people can still go back and forth. It just feels like this absolute no-go zone. Like the world would change immediately upon crossing that thing. And it's so not a friendly situation, you know. Amazing. First order of business is to go get some actual dinner here in Kirkenes. ChatGPT told me I should come here, so here we go. The food was odd, but not all bad. This was seared reindeer, a little gamey for my taste, and then king crab pasta with blueberries of all things. I stayed at the Taun Hotel, which is the nicest thing in town, I believe, but it's just average, though there's a good view if you get on this side of the hotel. Carpet design choice, highly questionable, but I'll forgive them for it. Very friendly staff here. Anyway, I can't linger because it's time to fly all the way back out west to Narvik, from where I'll head across the Swedish border later this afternoon. All right, time to drive to Kirkenes Airport, 15 minutes up the road, catch a bunch more Widerøe flights. It's gonna be kind of a long day, even though not covering that much distance, because I'm also then gonna go into Sweden, crossing the border from Narvik into Riksgränsen, where I'm gonna stay the night tonight. So it'll be a full travel day with many little stops and adventures. Unfortunately, that train that I really was looking forward to taking from Narvik in Norway into Sweden, the one that runs through Abisko, is closed down because of a derailment of a iron ore train. Sketchy stuff. So I have to take a bus, I think, a replacement bus. But not as cool, but still interesting. I love crossing borders, and being up here is always interesting. So let's do this. I think I'm a little bit late this morning. And here we are, 4 more Widerøe flights later at the Kirkenes airport, which serves Harstad and Narvik. I'll put links to the 3 Flight Radar 24 videos I shot here and in the air with Widerøe down in the description. Alright, now I've reached Narvik. It's the end of my flying adventure. 11 segments with Widerøe. Just amazing scenery. Every flight, you're just floored by what you see. So now we're in Kirkenes airport, which it's kind of funny, I didn't look into this more closely. I didn't realize it's actually an hour from Narvik town or city. And I need to get to Narvik to catch what was supposed to be my train to Sweden, but now is going to be a bus because of a derailment that caused that train line to be closed. So I'm hoping that what I'm finding online about a public bus that stops here and takes you to Narvik being true, that it leaves in about 45 minutes, hopefully, because the next airport bus isn't for like 4 hours, and then I would miss my bus and it'd be a mess. I even asked if I could rent a car here and drop it off in Sweden, in Kirkenes, where I'm flying out of on Saturday. That would have been perfect, but no, that's too complicated, they said. It would have been great because I could have just left now and probably been there in an hour instead of having to take God knows how long. It's an hour to Narvik. Maybe it would have taken me 2 hours. And at this rate, I'll be in Riksgränsen across the Swedish border in what, 4 hours? 5 hours? Anyway, it's part of the adventure. It's funny actually on these travel days where I'm doing ground transport in a place I don't know so well, and maybe I don't even know exactly how I'm gonna do it. That's sort of the most fun in terms of travel. I always have things so buttoned up and planned out. It's kind of exciting almost to be catching a bus that I hope exists but I don't know exists, and then catching another bus. I so want to spend more time up here, especially out there. Lofoten Islands, those islands we could see from the airplane, my God, just amazing. Narvik is the port city where iron ore from the massive Swedish mines around Kiruna gets sent by train and then loaded onto ships, mostly for transport to other points in Europe. It's a huge business for Sweden, so the fact that the trains are not running because of the latest derailment, the second in months, is very bad news. Both for my travel, since the passenger train to Sweden all the way to Stockholm uses the same line as the iron ore trains, and for the Swedish economy. Alright, made it to Narvik. Busy, bustling place, especially compared to the places I've just been. Now I'm gonna walk over, I guess it's about 5 minutes to the train station. And from there, I hope in about an hour and 15, there's gonna be a bus to Riksgränsen to replace the train that's out of service. Let's see what there is to do there. How to kill an hour in the Narvik train station. If you find yourself in this situation, the cafe here at Narvik train station is a very nice place to hang out for a while. It's less than an hour to get over to Sweden from here, and it's a pretty nice ride through some gentle mountains with some intense blowing snow. And here we are at the Njehku Mountain Villa, which was opened a few years back to offer a properly luxurious mountain lodge to stay in this area. It's a popular spot for skiing, partly because it gets a lot of snow, but there was never a very comfortable place to stay in the area until this came along.
Alright, made it to the Njehku Mountain Villa in Riksgränsen, just across the border from Norway, on the Swedish side. I believe it's so close to the border that you could kind of step out there a little ways and you'd be in Norway. But what a beautiful place. It's one of these very special places, obviously. Only 14 rooms. They built this place in something to do with the railway, I think. It used to be some kind of industrial building, and they made this amazing space. Every little detail you notice right away. They've put a lot of thought into this and a lot of money. I noticed that the bed actually is a Hästens bed, which is the famous Swedish bed maker. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but it's supposed to be the best of the best. I've never actually slept in a Hästens bed, as far as I know, so I'm excited about that. You can tell by the kind of checkered mattress box there. And tomorrow morning, do some ski touring, some backcountry skiing, hopefully. Which is something that I'm not super advanced in. I'm an okay skier, but mostly on groomed runs. I don't have much experience with backcountry off-piste, and I really want to have more experience with it, so it seemed like a really cool chance.
If you're a hockey fan, you may be intrigued to know that this bear was donated to the hotel by former NHL star and Swedish hockey legend Mats Sundin. The dinner here is superb, really fun to try all this stuff, and I like how I didn't have to choose, it just gets served to you.
Morning after a few very delicious drinks, but too many drinks at the restaurant last night. Delicious dinner as well. Pretty cool. I love when they just serve you something. You don't know what you're going to get. You just eat it. It's time for some ski touring, and I honestly don't know if I'm ready for it right now. I'm exhausted from the last few days. It's going to be a full day out there, and ski touring, for those of you who don't know, is basically just going out and climbing the mountain and going back down wherever you find a good spot. So maybe a little more energy intensive than a day on the piste.
And breakfast is also just amazing here, from the cloudberry jam on scones to the beautiful coffee mugs. My muscles were so spent from climbing this mountain that it was very painful to try and ski down. That part is supposed to be the payoff after the tough uphill. Not for me this time. Guess I need to do more strength training.
This is brutal, I gotta say. I'm either less fit than I thought I was, or I'm a worse skier than I thought I was, or both. Beautiful, but torturous.
And because things are packed in very tight on this trip, it's already time to hit the road and drive over to Jukkasjärvi, where I've been invited to test drive an electric snowmobile and stay in one of the ice rooms. I've stayed here before a couple of times in the standard warm rooms, but this time I thought, well, I should probably try the ice room once, right? Honestly, Ice Hotel is interesting, but it's become a tourist trap if you ask me. Alright, so in this ice room, I have a feeling I'm gonna end up wanting to sleep in the bathroom, the warm bathroom. I'm into the iguana with a crown, but Jesus. I mean, thank God he's not next to the bed. No thank you from that one.
Luckily I have one of these suites, they call them art suites, that has a warm bathroom and then the icy room where your bed is. But the result of that is that I find I've been kind of hiding in here in the bathroom for the past hour and a half when I could have gone to bed. just doing everything else but going to bed because I fear going to bed in that icy room. It's also, aside from being cold, it's also a bit creepy. There's some art in there that's kind of cool, but there's some art that's just creepy, which is so weird to me. Just for a place to sleep. Like maybe put the creepy art in public areas, you know? I kind of feel I've fallen victim to my approach that says say yes to everything. In this case, sleeping in an ice room. I was tempted to just say, give me one of the warm rooms, which they have here. But I thought, well, I'm not gonna try sleeping in the ice room. Even though I've heard a lot of people say that they end up kind of sleeping in the bathroom or in the lobby public area. So, okay. This is also ice. The light switch, oh my god. Okay, there's a lot of lights in here and it's just one switch, but everything is ice otherwise. Oh, that's so crazy. The light switch is embedded in there. How does that even work? And this is reindeer skins. I don't know if we're supposed to be on top of that. Oh, sound effects. There's this whole other room. I mean, what are you gonna sit in there? Okay, I'll let you know how it goes because I'm freezing my arms off here. So, and I can't leave the camera here while I sleep, or even the phone, I guess, unless I keep it in the bed. I'm gonna keep the phone in the bed to feel secure. Have a friend nearby. But this I'm gonna put away in the warm room so that it doesn't sit on a block of ice and melt into it. And we'll see you in the morning. I'll let you know how it went. Cool area. Jukkasjärvi is great. The nature here is great. Stay in one of the warm rooms if you're gonna come here. Way better and way cheaper.
Good thing we're ending on a high note with some snowmobiling. This is the almost in production Alpha electric snowmobile from Widerøe Mobility, a Swedish company. Keep in mind that up here, a lot of people use snowmobiles for actual transport in the winter and not just for fun in the snow. So having an emissions-free alternative is great news, even if these are pretty expensive for now. First, we take a conventional snowmobile up the lake a bit to where the electric ones are waiting for us. It's interesting to have the contrast one after the other. You'd think the noise would be the biggest thing, but actually it's the lack of fumes from the engine. If you're behind someone's snowmobile for a few hours, you're gonna taste that for the rest of the day. So it's so nice to do away with that on an electric one. Plus you get other benefits like really fast acceleration, and they're working on having an adjustable seat position. Plus they've made some of the frame out of a timber-based biomaterial. All very cool. Anyway, here's what it was like.
Fun.
your face expression tells so much.
Yeah. It's a little bit good old days with the turbo machine. It's when you can't handle it. Ta på hög andra högra knappen. Vik upp den.
That was a highlight and a nice way to end things, and a nice way to mess up my hair really bad. Fix that. But full transparency here, you're gonna see it. Ooh. I don't know if that can be fixed. Wow. So, snowmobiles, amazing. Electric snowmobile, even better. I want one. And with that, it's the end of this adventure. Time to head home from Kirkenes, flying down to Stockholm on another SAS A320neo. It's a beautiful day for flying. As ever, thank you so much for coming along on this one, and I'll catch you next time.